Broken and boxed up, set behind for better days. Hey, what's the word? Welcome to another episode of Sunday Sidecar, the series where we unbox and break down last week's Tuesday Ukeday drop from yours truly, Uke Brute. This week's episode, Broken and Boxed Up. So it dawned on me that, I tend to use the first line of my songs as the song title. Maybe sometimes that isn't always the case because, sure, the song opens about being broken and boxed up, but it's not really what this song is about. The song is about using that time when you feel broken and boxed up as, hibernation as your cocoon. I think this song should have been Use Your Cocoon. Not to be confused with Use Your Illusion, a very, very different song. And I doubt anyone's going to confuse the two. Anyway, but I just feel like that maybe would be a better song. And it's just kind of what got me started on this week's episode, because the song is more about using your cocoon. And it's not so much about being broken and boxed up. That's just the launch point. Because sometimes you have to let yourself be broken down and boxed up to make the second version, to make that next iteration, to create some new vibrations and permutations in the reality that we live in. And so that's what this song kind of gets at, is that sometimes you just gotta hibernate, cuddle up, turn the world off outside, and create a new you. It's really what this is all about. I don't know, I guess some of it was inspired by that Radio Lab episode, very popular one. They discuss what happens to butterflies when they go into a cocoon. And if you're unfamiliar with it, or just the process in general, when the caterpillar enters the cocoon, it essentially becomes a goo. It mushifies, gooifies. It turns into just nothing. There's nothing whole or solid in there. It just breaks itself down completely. And then, of course, when it breaks free of that chrysalis, and becomes this brand new, beautiful butterfly. But the thing of it is, even though that's wild as hell, is that, liquefies essentially. It just totally breaks down, and it, the cells know what to do to reform it into something brand new. It's, second iteration, it's new permutation. But what's even more fascinating about it is that the scientists did some type of conditioning. I believe it was via electrical stimulus on the caterpillar, and so they kind of conditioned it using these like I said, I think it was like an electrical stimulus of some sort to react in a certain way once it got these zaps. And even after it broke down, it turns into this goo and it reforms itself. The butterfly had the same conditioned responses to the stimulus, which indicates that even when that doesn't really indicate this, but we can use it metaphorically as an analogy for our lives. Even when we are feeling at our worst and we're feeling like we are just like a puddle of whatever, flesh on the floor, a puddle of tears on the floor, whatever it may be, once you rise up out of that and you commence your renaissance, and even if you have to use a nom de plume, but you could be a new you still, and still keep all the same. You're not changing who you are. You're still you at the bottom of it. And so, yeah, that's kind of like what this song is really kind of based off of. And I just had fun with the rhymes, because that's what I do, or what I like to do. Fate sealed, tragically fate sealed. I don't really know what the common usage is. I just know from video games, and when you can't get a buff on your character, you're fate sealed. That's really what the reference is, and you can't get your specials or whatever, or you can access your full kit. But I guess it kind of also can relate to the real world in terms of locked in. There's no choice, no free will at your disposal. tragedy, of course. And then just, ignoring wave fields, that's that quantum level wave fields, probability of none. Because even totally empty space still has a probability more than one, or, more than zero. It's just kind of like a low blow there. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is that no matter what these probabilities of none may be, or however fate sealed you might feel, there's time for rebirth, for go in your cocoon, gooify, liquefy, and rebuild. It's as simple as that, right? Yeah, it's really mostly all I have to say about Broken and Boxed Up. Fun one. It's another one of those ditties that I feel as I'm doing these, on a weekly basis, I'm coming to realize there's certain categories my songs fall in, and I feel like this one fits into perhaps my largest category of songs of the starts off really sad, dark, and dystopian, and then gets a little bit more life affirming and just kind of I guess life affirming. I don't really know what to say much more about this song other than that's kind of what it deals with. The chords itself are very straightforward. It's there's a so it's just going like that C, that G, back and forth kind of. Bring in the F, drop a pinky, and back to the G. It's for the majority of it. And I know I have a tendency to kind of not rail against simple songs, but I just like sometimes more than just a simple song, but sometimes simple's all you need. Just very straightforward, melodic rhythms, and go from there. Same thing with the refrain, like, use your cocoon to produce a new. And it's the same set of chords, really. I don't know most of them, as usual. There's some G's in there. There's an F in there somewhere. You get the gist. Well, anyways, that is Broken and Boxed Up. It's a fun song that hopefully gets you out of your little rut, or keeps you in it until you can break that cocoon. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Check back soon for another ditty from Uke Brute.